This episode is supported by Burns-O-Matic. If you'd like to build this project, there'll be free plans and a material list on my website. I'll have a link in the description. Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these pretty fancy push-up bars. And this is what I use, or push-ups are what I do to try to stay in shape. The push-up bars will be new to me, but I think they're going to be nice because the deal with push-ups is they're kind of tough on your wrist because your hands are flat against the ground. With the push-up bars, your hands are straight and you can get a full extension, so I think it's going to make doing push-ups just a little bit more enjoyable. Let's go ahead and get started. The first step in this project is to solder the copper fittings together. I get started by cleaning the copper with light sanding. Then apply the flux to both surfaces. Next, I'll put the fittings together and heat one side until the pipe becomes hot enough to melt the solder. The solder will flow towards the heat. Okay, now for the woodworking part of this project. I'm making the flat part out of sapele, and I'll start by ripping the material at 2 1/4 inches, and then I'll cross cut the parts at 7. Next, I'll locate the center, and using an 1 1/4 Forstner bit, I'll drill a hole a 1/2 inch deep. Here I'm using a chamfer bit in the router to give the parts a decorative edge. For the handles, I'm using white oak. First, I'll mill the material to 1 3/4 inches square. Then I used my hand to get a good idea of how long I wanted the handle to be, and then I cross-cut the material at 7 inches. I'll run a straight edge corner to corner to locate the center, and then I'll use an awl to mark the center for the lathe. Now that I have a nice fit, I'll give everything a final sanding before gluing the parts together with 5-minute epoxy. For the finish, I'll use a few thin coats of spray lacquer. Well, I'm really happy with the way these turned out, and they're definitely going to inspire me to want to do more push-ups. And I've already done some push-ups on them, and it's nice to get that full extension. If you're curious about my workout, it's pretty simple. At this point in my life, I'm not going to win any races. It's really just about maintenance. So I try to do at a minimum 25 push-ups a day, never less, and usually more. And sometimes I'll throw in some dips and pull-ups and sit-ups. And having these push-up bars, I think, will be inspiring to want to do more push-ups, because it's just nice to get that full extension and put your hands on the wooden handles. If you want to make these, I will have free plans on my website. If you don't have a lathe, you could always substitute the wooden part for just a piece of copper pipe. But I do like the wood, and maybe that's a good excuse to buy a lathe. And if you don't know, I do have a second channel called Shop Talk, and I talked a little bit about the making of these. And I also talked about, in my last episode, the only gun I think you need for a wood shop, at least the one that I use the most, and that's an 18 gauge nail gun. And I'll have a link to that channel in the description. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. To keep up with current projects, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. For vlog style Q&As and shop news, check out my second channel. I'll have links in the description.